Hi again guys, and many of you who have joined the channel recently may not know this, but there's a type of video that we do here on the channel called the Patreon sponsor collabs, and for a few months the guys who do that with me currently, who are at those tiers on Patreon, have been pretty busy, so you haven't really seen them, and then after so many months of having nothing, we've got two in one day, from now NismoNath and also Maverick later on today, who of course was featured on Sunday in a Jag at Bathurst, and many of you enjoyed that video. Now, we'll get to that one later on, but for now, this is a completely different kind of video, because some of you may have seen every so often I share on the community tab something called YouTube Poops, which is kind of this comedic, memified version, very heavily edited versions of some of my videos where I'm actually on camera talking about updates and stuff. And basically what Nathan does is he takes those and, like I said, edits them, chops them up, memifies them, gives it a more comedic slant than it even already has. So that is the purpose of this video. He's given you a behind the scenes look at that. And as I said, if you are interested in working with me as these guys do, then click the very first link down in the description. And you don't have to join to look. You can see all of the different perks that are there when you become a part of the HSG team. And there are a number of perks, even right down to the $1 tier, which are actually pretty good to be in on. So check that out if you're interested in that. But that's all from me. So for now, I'll say, Nath, over to you.
Hi again then, guys, as Mike would say, but of course, I'm not Mike. Hello, I'm Nismo. If you don't know who I am, that's okay. You've probably seen my YouTube poops. I do a fair few, especially of HSG and the sort of the wacky-ish videos that he does every now and again, his sort of up close and personal, sort of behind the scenes videos that he does. Mostly raging about laptops and their quality issues, but we're not talking about the performance issues of laptops today. I thought I'd make this video to give you sort of a behind-the-scenes look at how I make my YouTube poops. You see, they are arguably my most popular creations on my channel. Of course, they are typically very well received, and a lot of the HSG community do enjoy them quite a bit. So I thought today, why not take you guys behind the scenes and show you precisely how I make them, and the effort that goes into making these ridiculous little mashups and compilations that are only a few minutes long, but man, some of them can take hours, if not days. And so yeah, that's what I'm going to be showing you now. So first of all, this is my current setup. This is where all the magic happens. Got a nice little computer under there, a lot of colors, a lot of lights and stuff. I have no idea of any of the specs, so I'll probably get my more technologically competent sister to chuck some of the specs up. She built the damn thing. I paid for it. But yeah, so this is what I use to make the YouTube poops. Now, the biggest and most important part of any good YouTube poop creation is, of course, your library. I have a 2 terabyte hard drive just dedicated to all of my effects and my products and music, and just this is my go-to for all my production. So I've got a lot of effects, and of course we break that down into, we've got sound effects, the more popular. FBI, open up! FBI, or we got like a crowd gasp, sad trombone, all sorts of comedic little effects that could really add a bit of excitement to a YouTube poop. Green screen as well. Of course, some of you might even recognize some of these effects. I've got the Era laptop. That was used in the video where Mike absolutely smashed his laptop with a giant mace. Of course, we've got the Australia flag, which was used in the deleted scene that was left out of one of my videos, but it probably should have been put in, but I just didn't have the time to make it. Mission passed. So all sorts of little wacky little tidbits and effects that can really add to a YouTube poop. Bit of music, which I don't really use a lot of music in my my videos, but it's good to have a bit stuff there. Bass clips, of course, none of it can be possible without the bass clips themselves. And these are basically just videos that Mike's done, and I've pinched them off his his channel and stored them here just for safekeeping.
Here we are again. Yep, good old laptop Once again.
See, laptop's proving to be pricks once again. Some of his unboxing videos.
And that is, of course, Ryan, Mr. Maverick.
So, big archive. It's growing, and obviously, if I ever need a little extra piece or video or whatever, I'll just chuck that there. Yeah, so it's good to have a lot of room because obviously there's plenty that can happen. Of course, I also have my thumbnails for the various videos, which, you know, Photoshop, they can work wonders there. But yeah, so first rule for any big YouTube poop is have plenty of storage space because you are going to need it. Now, I thought I would just make a quick little poop just to sort of run as an example, I guess, just so you can sort of see the process from start to finish, because obviously it is a rather involved process. A lot of people don't think it is. Obviously it's just silly little effects and, you know, it's all pretty nonsense, but it does actually take a fair bit of time. So just to start, I've picked this one here, which is some video that he did about his new YouTube schedule. That was a while ago, so I'm going to chuck that in there. I use Premiere Pro for all of my editing, of course. I studied media and TV for 5 years in high school, and this is what we used. So I'm just going to go ahead and see what we've... And straight away, we've got something to work with. Now, I should clarify before we get started, I'm not going to show you everything that I do in making these poops. Some secrets I'm going to keep for myself, but I'll give you a bit of an idea. So, for starters, of course, we've got this little clip of him doing... I don't even know what the hell he's doing, but he's doing it. So, I'm going to go down to the production here and wait for him to stop. He stopped. So there's our little segment of hilarity. I'm just going to chop that there and separate it from the main bit. So now we have a few seconds of him just jamming out. Now that's pretty funny. I mean, with no context, you really do wonder what the hell he's up to, and it's just pretty random. Now, when we pair that with some music, which of course, this music that I'm using here is the Crab Rave, which is a pretty popular meme. So if we add that together, we have... Now that's even better. It does get a bit weird because he sort of stops there and he sort of stops and then gets back to it. So what I might do there is just find the point where he stops. So he sort of stops and looks about there. So if I go a little bit further back, and then I'm going to grab the chop tool, chop it around there. Cool. And then ripple delete so that now I've copied it twice, so it's the same link. And then if we play it again, it should look like a much more seamless... See? You can hardly tell that there was a transition there. See, look, I'll play it again. There's your little transition bit. I'll keep the frame in mind so you can sort of see where the transition... And if you weren't looking at that, you probably wouldn't be able to tell where that transition is. Now, I'm going to see what it looks like if we speed up the footage again. So we speed it up, regular 100%. Let's try 300%. Focus, damn it. There we go, 300%. All right. So we're going to ripple delete that so that it's seamless. Let's just see what it looks like. It's going to be a lot shorter because it's quicker, but... Well, that was a bit too quick. What I might do then is try... Let's try 200%. Just ripple delete that. Let's try 200%. Yeah, it's still a bit quick for my liking. So we'll just try like 150. 150, that's my final attempt. Otherwise we'll just go for regular speed. Because it was pretty good by itself. So we'll just see what it looks like here. I still think the regular speed was better. That's okay. So what I'm going to do then, so that's reverted back to normal. And that looks good. That's funny. So, next what I'm going to do is a very subtle transition. Of course, I would show you the entire process, but it does take time. It's very finicky and there's a lot of little things to do. But who knows, if you guys are keen, maybe one time I'll live stream myself making these YouTube poops if you're really that interested. So I'll just explain what I've just gone and done in the process between this. So I've gone and chopped up the footage, as you can see, into tiny little segments, and every second clip is yellow. Now that yellow means that I've done something to the clip. What have I done? Well, take a look. I've zoomed it in a little bit, just a little bit each time, so that it sort of goes in and out with the beat. So you'll see what I mean. Here we go. And then it stops, and then as soon as he looks across, it's almost like you've just walked in on him and he was, I don't know, having a bit of a rave to himself, and you've just walked in on him and it's like, well, this is awkward. Now that was pretty straightforward. That was literally just zooming in the footage every now and again, and there really wasn't much to that. There was no green screen, there was no sound effects, no wacky color effects or transitions or anything. So let's start looking at some other ways that we can sort of throw a few more effects into here. I'm not making this to make a funny random segment, although it's probably going to be pretty random and a little bit funny anyway, but the purpose of this one is literally just to sort of demonstrate how these are made. So let's see what we've got just after that.
Hi again, guys. So yeah, I just wanted to make this quick-ish video to explain to you a change that's going to be coming to the channel. Basically, due to circumstances, which I won't get into, my schedule is going to be changing, so the video production schedule will also be changing. Now, I've drawn a handy-dandy chart of simply how it's going to change.
Perfect. Things like this, where he holds up sheets or boxes or whatever, are just prime examples of how to, well, they're not prime examples, they're prime pieces that you can play with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to backtrack to a part where he sort of mentions it.
So the video production schedule,
and then when he does, I'm going to
changing.
there.
Now I've drawn a handy-dandy chart of...
Dang it. Okay, so I need to click it before he mentions the handy-dandy.
Changing. Now I've drawn a handy-dandy chart of simply how it's going to change.
Perfect. All right, now what I want to do is grab that footage and chuck that over there. Grab the sound as well, unless you don't want it to have any sound, which, you know, some people don't. So now our thing looks like this.
Now I've drawn a handy-dandy chart of simply how it's going to change.
And the first thing that you always do when you cut in a new segment like that is you always tidy up the transitions. So obviously there was a bit of an overlap just before, so I've just gone and rectified that.
Now I've drawn a handy-dandy chart of simply how it's going to change.
Okay, so let's just dissect what I've just gone and done here. So obviously it was really zoomed in. It was really zoomed in here, and it might look a bit weird, but the only reason I did that is because if we take that back to regular size, I'll just zoom it down. So that is more or less full screen, right? So if I take that back and we just ignore the zoomed up bit.
Handy chart of simply how it's going to change.
It looks a bit weird when the text just sort of appears. You know, he's holding up his chart and then all of a sudden, boom, there's your text and there's your whiteout. So what I did there is, I just have to try and Control Z enough times to, there we are. So basically we do it so that he's hiding from the footage so that you can't quite see, what he's holding, and then he reveals it. And that's the hilarity. So obviously here you could put whatever text you want. I've just put something real basic, you know, I'm going to make videos whenever I feel like it. Because you never know, maybe Mike's just had enough of this shit and he's just gonna just do whatever he wants, whenever he feels like the videos. Yeah. So basically, all that is the graphic. Of course, I've done a little white speech bubble type thing to sort of block out the base text, and then I've done the text. I'm going to make videos, and then I put it in red whenever I feel like it. And the reason I did the red is because, as you'll see over here, I was trying with a couple of sort of where are they? Over here. I was trying with a couple of like bloody green screen effects, like trying to sort of get that sort of blood splatter on the wall, on the paper, but it didn't quite look right. Of course, it would have fitted in with the whole barbaric sort of theme that Mike sort of has. He has that very barbaric appearance. To anyone who doesn't know him, you'd think he's some modern age Viking, but so I tried that, but it didn't quite work, so I'm just going to leave it at that for now. But again, that's another little segment made, and this is really quite simple stuff once you know how to do it. It's really learning the footage and learning how to play with and manipulate everything that really gets it going. And now for the hardest, most tedious, most time-consuming part of any good YouTube poop, and that's the voice mixing. So again, I've jumped ahead and I've gone and made a little voice mixed segment here, which, let's see if you can sort of get what he's saying, because obviously there's a few random cuts and it might be a bit hard to hear, but we'll see. I'll play it through once and then I'll explain it.
But basically the thing is, at the moment, I'm getting 22 laptops a week, which cover something like 9 different issues of video production, but there's not much else I can do. New laptop inbound, but for now...
Okay, now, did you get what he was saying there? Now, basically, when you're voice mixing, you need to go through dozens and dozens of different videos, because sometimes you'll need an entire video just for 1 or 2 syllables. If you're that committed to making these things. It's a very long, tedious process. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of patience. You need to know what you're wanting. So basically, what I got him to say here is, and I'll go through segment by segment.
But basically the thing is, at the moment, I'm getting 22 laptops a week.
So that one was, at the moment, I'm getting 22 laptops a week, which of course is a poke at the laptops and his issues with laptops. It's a bit of a joke in that direction. What else?
Which covers something like 9 different issues of video production, but there's not much else I can do.
Which covers about 9 different issues with production. Again, that's another jab at the laptops, because if you've been around on his channel long enough, you'll have seen the various videos that he puts up in pure frustration, because the guy just doesn't have luck with them, does he? So really, that was all that was. Now, my plan for this bit is...
New laptop inbound, but for now...
So he goes, new laptop inbound, but for now, and then I'm going to cut back to the crab rave and have him jamming out again. Which, again, cutting back to jokes that you've already used, as long as you don't overdo it, it can actually be... It still can be pretty funny and entertaining. Obviously, as long as you don't overuse it, like if your entire video is just, oh, HSG doing the crab rave for like 10 hours, nobody's going to watch that. So, you know, keep it fresh, keep it exciting, but at the same time, if you do want to cut back to a joke once or twice, as long as you do it well and it's well executed, you can get away with it. But it is something you need to sort of, you have to know what you're wanting to achieve when you do it. Now, while I was working on this next bit, of course, I mentioned I was going to cut back to the crab rave. While I was working on it, I had an idea. So have a look at what I've just come and done and see if you can follow what I'm planning on doing.
Inbound, but for now...
So that's basically what I'm working on now. And again, it takes a lot of patience. So basically, in a nutshell, I've got the... I use the mouse instead. I've got this single... Focus already, far out. So I've got this single bit of footage, and I've basically copied that and then paste, and I've stuck them all in sequence. Hence, all of the different mics. Now, basically, they all spawn here for some reason. So every time I copy paste, boom, there's another one. And then, is that? Nope, that's the last one. All right. So I've done that. Now, basically, all I have to do is go there, and then there, and there's even more. Oh, look at that. This is where it gets a bit complicated. We basically have to single-handedly work them up And it does get tedious again, like I said, very time consuming. I'll just scroll that up. We're running out of room, but that's okay. This computer is built to take these sorts of things. Not that it's much of a strain, it's more of a patience thing. Good things come to those that wait. And now, so they're all in sequence again. So basically, I go like that, and again, click on it, and there's another one. And click on it again, and there's another one. Goodness, it's like the miracle of birth. Just all these mic clones. So that's what I'm going to work on now just for the next little while, is to get these all sequenced up, and I'll show you when it's done. So that took a little bit longer than I anticipated, but here's the finished product.
Up inbound, but for now.
And that took about probably the better part of 10 minutes for not even 5 seconds of finished product. And that's pretty much story of YouTube Poops life. It's a lot of effort for little gain, but of course, as long as it entertains the folks, then that makes it all worth it. So there's not really much else left that I'll share in this video. Of course, it is. I'm aware it's getting a bit up there in terms of length. And the last little trick tidbit that I'll show you is the censor beep. Never underestimate the power of a censor bleep to completely change the context of something that's being said. You dirty-minded people will instantly jump to some filthy conclusion if I bleep a seemingly innocent word in something that Mike says. And to prove that point, I've gone and made 2 different clips. Well, I haven't made them. I've got 2 clips. One of them has no censor bleep, and the other one does. So let's just see how that works.
And yeah. So I just wanted to let you guys know, because obviously if I just changed it without saying it would be kind of odd. And that's about it, really. So as always, thanks for watching.
Innocent enough, right? So let's chuck in the censor bleep.
And yeah. So I just wanted to let you guys know, because obviously if I just it without saying it would be kind of
odd. You guys see what I mean? Surely. Even just taking out random words, they call them unnecessary censorships, but it's just another easy way to just completely change the context of any particular scene. And it doesn't even have to be HSG, you could do it with anything. I'll prove that point in a future video. I have been meaning to do just a compilation of like hilarious unnecessary censorships. But for now, I'm going to wrap up this video. I'm going to publish it on my channel too, so that you can actually obviously see the finished product. I'm just going to ripple that. The big thing obviously is to render it, and because this is only a minute long, so it's not going to take long to render. Some of the productions that I've done, YouTube Poop and otherwise, are like 15 minutes, 30 minutes in excess, so it takes like a lot longer to render. But yes. Well, congratulations. You've seen basically how to get started with making YouTube Poops. Like I said, it's not particularly hard, complicated, or difficult. It just takes a lot of commitment, a lot of time, and bucket loads of creativity. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, obviously seeing the whole behind the scenes and how it all works and how it sort of comes together. Of course, I know a lot of you guys enjoy the YouTube Poops, but you know, I hope you've enjoyed seeing how the YouTube Poops get made. So that's all for me for now. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, guys.